friends, welcome to this daily video devotional. I wanted to share with you just a brief passage from a very long psalm. The book of Psalms has one chapter that is significantly longer than the others. That's chapter 119. And this passage comes out of verse 105 to 107. Yeah, so these are in the hundreds of chapters. It says this: "Your word is a lamp before my feet and a light for my journey. I have sworn and I fully mean it. I will keep your righteous rules. I have been suffering so much. Lord, make me live again according to your promise." The Psalms are full of prayers like this, worship like this. And we can't forget that worship and prayer really are very much connected. Sometimes we forget that when we are praying, even by ourselves, we are worshiping God. We are expressing our sense of worth for God, who God is, what God is, how God is. And in this passage, it begins with maybe familiar words for you. Your word is a lamp before my feet and a light for my journey. Can you picture that? Someone holding a lamp out in front of them, walking through darkness, and the lamp gives light and shows us where we're walking so that we don't stumble, so we don't fall, so we don't run into things. And I'm talking the kind of darkness where you can't see the hand in front of your face. You know that one, right? Sometimes life can feel like that. And for the psalmist, they experienced that. The psalmist even says, I have been suffering so much. In the midst of exile from the promised land, at the hands of Babylon, at the rule of Babylon, they had been pushed out of their land and harmed. I have been suffering so much. Maybe there's no other journey that we need that light in more than when we're suffering. Now, suffering comes in many forms, but it does come. It meets us in life. But we don't need that light from God's lamp only when we're in the midst of suffering, but at all times. We need that light before us to shine a way forward. I'm struck by how a lamp works. If you've used one, you'll know what I mean, and I imagine you've used one. If you've used a flashlight, you'll know what I mean. It does give off a significant amount of light, and you can get lamps and flashlights that give off a tremendous amount of light. But that light doesn't shine on in every place. There are things that we can't see, even with that light. Things that are off in our periphery. Things that are just even further than our eyesight will allow. Now, that doesn't mean that God doesn't see them. It just means that we're not there yet. We haven't encountered it yet. I am what we would call a worrywart. Any other worriers? Worrying is one of those things that is a dangerous game to play because it assumes that we know everything. Not in an arrogant way, but in a way that says that everything that you see is all that there is. But if we walk with God's lamp, we don't need to worry about what is beyond what we can see. God's lamp, God's light will lead us there. And when we get there, we'll cross that bridge. But until then, know that you are surrounded by the love of God. Know that you are filled with the grace and the peace of God. And that the light of God will show you the way forward. Amen.